All right, we live. Don't talk about Hunter anymore.
Oh, what's up?
We're having such a good conversation with them.
I'm thinking what we need to do with Hunter is he gets to No Name Nationals, when he's asleep or passed out, whatever happens with him, we'll just go take his motor out of his car and stick an LS in it.
Yes.
I think we can do it. I think we can do it in record time.
Yep.
And we'll do it. That's what we'll do at the restaurant. We're going to swap an LS in Hunter's car.
So we'll just, we'll have an engine hoist, somebody.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, he ain't said nothing yet, so he's probably like fuming right now.
They're talking about doing their own live just for them, no-name guys that are under. Wait, what? Hold on. So what? My what? Yeah. We're going to wait till you're in there getting some throwed rolls. And while that's happening, we'll be out there wrenching, pulling your tri-power out. No, he has cross ram. We're going to pull your cross ram out. And we're going to
carefully.
And then we're going to put an LS in there. Cold dead hands.
Your hands won't be cold. You'll be catching those hot rolls, buddy.
Yep.
We're going to be doing it while you're inside eating. You won't know.
So I want to tell you, this PJ's rusted right here. He is literally about 5 minutes before I got that 402. I had no idea. I probably know him. If we met, we definitely know each other. But if you haven't checked out his channel, he's got some old Pontiac crap on there with an original, a 315 and whatever transmission that was. But it's a 315. And that's something you don't see every day. I know he said he wanted to swap it, but don't. Keep that thing in there. That's amazing.
Hey, Hunter, we're bringing the best engine hoist that Harbor Freight sells.
I got the pneumatic one. You guys get a compressor there. I got that pneumatic one that you just hit, click, and
I'll bring my
out she comes.
I'll bring it.
You know what I need to do is I actually ran. I know how cliche this is right now, but I saw a service truck really cheap. And I thought, cool. Man, I get me a service truck, and I'm actually looking at buying a 2-car trailer because what I got coming, I'm going to need it.
I was looking at that too.
So I was looking at one, and I was like, man, I can get a service truck, get that 2-car trailer, and I'll have a service truck. And see, now this gives me a better idea because we have a service truck with like a winch thing on the back. We could get that motor right out of that car.
Well, he says he's going to Mad Max it so that it's going to go kaboom. But I'm thinking, if you're going to Mad Max it, you got to have the flip-on blower switch because you need your, roof blower to be able to be.
I thought about how to do that. And
some kind of clutch system. I don't.
You can. Well, you do the air conditioning compressor clutch. Yes.
Yep.
You could use that to just engage the
switch and then engage the clutch.
The problem is you have to have a bypass for the screws, right? Because it's a huge air restriction when those things aren't turning. So that's the only thing I had to work out is how to just kind of bypass those. So the switch would also have to bypass the screws of the blower until you get the switch and it pulls off the bypass. Little butterflies, and then the blower would start boosting and the clutch would start spinning. Yeah, you could totally do that.
This brat right here, this guy here that's making fun of me, that's my oldest. And
is it?
I literally have door handles for the Mustang in here because he broke one. And all he's got to do is stop in here, 5 minutes, drill out the rivets, put the new ones in with new rivets. He can come do it. But no, hey, Dad, when are we going to put these new door handles on this Mustang? You mean when you going to put the new door? I don't know what I'm doing. But he's going to sit here and make fun of me. I'm not a boomer either, buddy.
Well, when are you going to get out there and fix your Mustang?
Yeah. He's leaving for a week. I might just go grab that thing and blow it up and then hand it back to him. Oh, sorry.
Is that the good sounding Mustang?
Yeah, it's a good sounding Mustang, yeah.
I sure do like that.
That thing sounds pretty rowdy. I do like the way it sounds.
Listen to him. You own it. I ain't doing shit. That is Gen Z. No, wait a
Nope.
minute. He's born 96. Would that be Gen Z? It doesn't
It's
matter.
not-
They're all
96?
Gen X for the
It's
win.
not us.
I think 96 might be millennial.
He's
Isn't
getting
it?
real close to millennial.
He might
He's
as
getting
well
really
be.
close to it, yeah.
There's another neighbor of mine, Dust Devil Garage. I think I saw. Didn't Jeff come over here? Yep, there he is. Yeah, I got 21 in here tonight.
It's a good
So,
one.
Oh, we're doing good. I can't see that stuff. I'm just on stream because I don't have enough internet to look at.
oh, ain't he sweet? Look at that.
Yeah, I saw people snatch those up pretty quick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That helps. Because okay. So, I was in a hurry last year for Power Tour. And if you've seen the videos from last year, it had been about in June. I put out a short where I was so damn angry that because the shop that I brought it to and Disaster Piece there, Skyler, he knows the shop, and they screwed up the rear end. And at that time, we couldn't get parts for anything, not let alone a friggin' AMC. So the spider gears were junk, and I'm getting ready to take a 2,000-mile trip. So I took it to the shop, and I said, hey, here's a locker. I've used them before in my Jeeps, the AMC 20, you get a lunchbox locker, stick it in there. It'll work. It'll be better than what's going on right now. They screwed it all up, long story short. So I put it in myself. I finished it 3 hours before we left for Memphis. We drove it the whole thing, got back. Anyway, the motor takes crap. You've all seen that. I got it in here. The motor's in it. And I take it for its first drive with that new motor in it. This video is going to be coming out, but all of a sudden I hear, I was like, what the hell was that? I pull up here and I'm like, oh man, you can hear it. You put it in reverse and it clunk, put it in drive, clunk. It's like, oh my God, I just killed the rear end. And it's an AMC 20 out of a Javelin. The only thing that fits in them is out of a Javelin. So I'm like, I'm going to have to rebuild this. So I go up and I look at the cover. There's a great big dent in the cover. Oh, the gears came apart, I get in there. No, the lunchbox locker came apart. The pins that go in there and hold that thing in, and it slammed in. And it's not even the right one to have in it. They make two. They make one that's a good one that's called the no slip, but it's like $500. The one I bought's like $220 something, $225. So anyway, I'm like, what the hell am I going to do now? I guess I'll just order the new one. But then I thought, no, I'm going to check the warranty on this. I got on Amazon from the people that I bought it from. They didn't have a way to get a hold of them. I'm trying to get a hold of the place that's selling them. It couldn't, but it gave me a number, so I call it. It was actually the place that makes them in Northeast or Northwest Indiana. This guy's like, how did you get our number? I was like, well, I don't know. It was on their damn website thingy on Amazon. He goes, okay. So when I bought it and all that shit, I did that Friday. It was here Monday.
Wow.
They gave me a new one. The company gave me a new one. It's Power Tracks is who it is. It's a company that makes a Midwest machine or something like that. Well, I get it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm out in the garage, and I'm looking at the Javelin, and God dang. I mean, it was disintegrated. So I start cleaning it all out, and I was like, well, I can put this thing back in it, or I can just go ahead and buy the right one, and I'll have this one for one of the Jeeps I got and some other acquisitions I have now that might be able to use it. AMC 20, mind you. And I'm like, I just went ahead and ordered the new power slip. So it's coming in. It'll be here Saturday, and I'm going to put it all back together. I had to get a trans mount for that thing. You put it in gear, and the transmission would shift 3 inches. It was bad. I was like, how the hell did we drive this thing for 2,000 miles? And I had that going, but I did it. So I highly recommend Power Tracks products. I'll tell you that right now. He didn't have any questions at all.
No doubt.
Okay, you got the receipt. You got this. He goes, give me your address. And he sent it to me. got here in a couple days. So I'm going to save that for another project, but I got the good one coming, like the one that's silent. You don't know it when you turn corners, it unbonds itself and turns that way. Both wheels ain't, it ain't posi track. So hopefully that works. And then today I was telling these guys I got the fuel tank, the sending unit, and the fuel tank straps for the ambulance today. So that's going in, and in about 3 weeks I should have a title for it. So Amber will be driving that ambulance here in about a month.
Nice.
So I got to get it up. I'll be doing some work on it because I got to get the brakes adjusted. And of course, now all of a sudden a company just come out with the front disc conversion for that car. I was like, well, I spent like $800 restoring them brakes, and now they have a kit for $1,200. Like, that's perfect. There ain't no reason to curse about that. At least they make one.
No.
I don't feel so bad about what I spent, because I think I spent like $600 on my brakes.
Yeah,
something like that.
This was
one of the best upgrades still, front discs.
Mm-hmm.
This damn car is a 2-year only brake system. Like, you got to be kidding me. I had to go out to the junkyard and find a 68 and a 69 to try to get brake parts off the thing. And I ended up having to fabricate the automatic adjuster.
Right.
You can't get them. They don't make them.
Yeah, mine were all rusted.
I had to remake them out of a C10 Chevy, a 69 to 72 or 68 to 72 C10 Chevy front drum brake system. I had to heat them up and physically make them look like the original. I couldn't find them. What a pain in the ass. But they worked. I mean, they stopped that tank after an 11-second eighth of a mile. So,
yeah, but how many times will they stop that tank after an 11-second eighth of a mile?
With Amber driving it, because she, waits till 10 feet before the turn to hit the brakes. So,
well, that's all right. By the time she hits it, she's 20 feet past the turn. So,
yeah.
Well, the front of the car is, the back still
right.
Still
yeah, it's still going. Yeah.
Well,
still going.
I've even found the right reverse monitor for her, and it's going to have a backup beeper.
Nice.
And we've got a horn for it that's an original Model A or whatever Ayuga. It's real. It's original, and it's loud as hell. And I'm gonna put that underneath the hood for her. Maybe a PA system on a thing. That way, if somebody's in the way, get the hell out of the way. You're going to be riding in the some bitch. I still want to get something on that says Amber's whatever. You're better off.
Why isn't it not called an Amber Lance?
Well, that's what I call it all
Amber
the time.
Lance. Yeah.
But
that's what people tell me all the time. It's like, do you drive the Amber Lance? I'm like,
yeah, and Amber's infirmary, you're better off dead.
Yeah.
Did you find a back window for it, or what are you going to do about that?
No, we'll probably have one made for it.
Yeah,
I've had people tell me to get a hold of this, and I didn't have to get a hold of them. Trust me, they got a hold of me. Professional Car Society.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they don't like me. Because that car should be completely restored and put in a museum. Like, well, you're talking to the wrong cat, because this thing's going to get driven every day.
Oh, yeah, I know all about that. And it's, that car's worth so much. You should do this, this, and this. And I'm like, I don't have the budget for that.
If you
I don't have
guys
the
want
budget for that. Maybe you should have been out looking for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I found it. It was sitting in the woods, just like you found yours in the swamp.
The thing is this car would have been a parts car.
Right.
They would have stripped this thing to nothing because, there was no floors. There's still no damn. It's held. It's held together with goddamn corrugated steel. That's the cheap crap you can get at Menards. But I did put, good solid braces in it.
And carpet.
But you know what? The interior looks great in it.
Yeah, interior is amazing.
Yeah. You like my rug?
I love it, man. It's awesome.
That rug, that's from friggin' Rural King, man. I cut that thing to fit.
That's
same
inspirational.
exact carpet and color that's in the friggin' AMC that cost me $400.
Well, I was just talking to my buddy that 69 Mach 1 I'm working on. We're going to put it's got the carpet in that fold down back seat. And he's like, oh, I can go order a kit up. I said, dude, just go to the carpet store and get some black Berber. Like, I mean, you're not going for full on original car here. Like, I bet you could get what you need for like $50 or something. You order it off a line, for an actual kit's going to cost you like probably $500 or something stupid like that. And it'll look fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do that from now on. I'm going to do a Roll King $20 rug, cut her to fit, maybe throw some kill mat underneath it or boom mat or whatever the hell they call that stuff. And that's what I'm doing. I'm not paying all that money for that carpet no more. That form-fitted crap. I'm not restoring cars to perfection, so I don't care.
And it doesn't fit. That's the thing. Is I laid mine out to get it warm so it would better contour. No, it never fits.
The Javelins is horrible.
Yeah, I would rather just get regular old carpet and cram it in there, because I bought some for my Suburban, and I'm telling you, for what I paid for it, it's supposed to form fit, but yet you got to trim the front, you got to trim the back, you got to trim the sides, and when you get it all laid in there, it's still not right. I ended up heating it up. I got the propane torch out, and I'm heating it and trying to get it to sit, and it didn't. It wasn't worth it.
Well, the video I just posted has that Fargo truck, and the carpets they got in that thing, those are gorgeous, man. Like, those things fit so nice. I can't remember where he said he got them, but they are some nice carpets, and they do custom logos and everything on the. And I'm not sure how much it cost. I don't think it was too bad. So I'll have to find out where he got those from and see how much they are, because they'll do custom carpets for anything.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, this right here, this is not a joke. I have a special deal with another place, but I don't think they're doing it anymore. But this guy here that builds drivelines just north of me, he's awesome. He literally, he gets professionals and all kinds of stuff that bring their stuff to him. He's really, really good at it. We got a lot of them around here that are just kind of hidden gems, like my cam and crank guy, and I'm sure he knows him too, Effingham or Grinding. I don't use anybody else. That's why I tell people that I have a guy that I've been working with since my dad worked with at this shop since the 70s. 60s, 70s, when my friend's dad owned it. And I can go to him and say, I need that crank polished and get it down to where it is. I have never, ever once had to plastigage one of my motors when he's done the crank.
Wow.
Because I used to do it all the time. I used to have my own mics and all that stuff. Every single time. They are spot on. Perfect clearance, perfect everything. And he's kind of like me, where he's like, well, there's a couple scratches on there.
It's fine.
He gets some real buttheads that'll come in there and say, oh my God, there's a mark on it. He's just like, it ain't going to kill the thing.
So,
yeah.
As long as it's not sharp, it's smooth and everything.
Hit it with the wire brush, it's fine.
Well, that's why somebody said, how did you get when you do cam bearings, which I will not show people how to do cam bearings, but I'll put them in and there's an edge. And people like, how do you get rid of the edge? Emery cloth. What? Emery cloth. You take mechanics tape, get in there and just go around the edge of it to smooth it off. It ain't gonna kill it. Just don't, you don't want to sit there and saw on it like you're but I've never had any trouble with it.
I use that white Scotch Brite, just the real smooth stuff.
Same thing. As long as you're not sawing on it and using like 180 or whatever that really high, it'll tear it up bad. That's how I get the edge off of it. Duct tape does fix everything.
Yep.
I seen one engine, which this amused me, because there's such shysters out there. They went through the effort of pulling the oil pan off this engine and then putting that aluminum tape under the bearings to tighten up the clearances and putting it all back together. And I'm like, okay, well, if you went through, why? It's a 4-cylinder. It probably, the aluminum tape was probably more expensive than new shells. You should just put new bearings in there, man. Like, it's so stupid what some people do. It's unreal.
Yeah. Triple M, I'm sure you do. I'm dead serious. I will not show anyone how to do cam bearing, because that's the first thing that'll get screwed up and ruin your motor real quick. And I don't want people, but he did it this way. No, that ain't how I did it, because if it was how I did it, it wouldn't have blown up on you.
I look at it this way. If I'm not using a hammer and a wire wheel, then I'm probably not doing it right. So I'm going to just let somebody else do it.
But my thing is I always come across is that, like I said about my crankshaft guy, whatever, clunk, knock it in there, and it works every time. But then there'll be that guy go, he just sticks it in there and smacks it like that, and it just works. No, you literally got to sit there and tap it. You can feel when it's in there right. You can see. It's just like, I'm not showing you that. Piston rings, throw them on there, clamp them, shove them in the damn block.
Right.
Don't deburr them. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just throw them in.
Yeah. It'll deburr itself. It's metal.
It will. Yeah, it will.
Now, I will say, if you're doing motors like I'm doing here, like I'm just taking a stock engine, throwing it back together. When I do have, some people not believe this, I do have a really nice electric ring, setup. I have cam, all the stuff to do the cams. I got all that crap, but if I wanted to do that, I'd be working in a shop. I'm not building race engines. So I buy the fit rings. I buy, whatever bearing size I need, whether it's, the only thing I get upset with, like the Pontiac has the bearings on it are 20 under and 30 under. They're 20 on the mains, 30 on the rods. That, I don't like that. But try to find the right crankshaft for that motor. That old school 68. What is it? It's different than the 70s models. But I wanted to save it, so it's not a race car. Well, it was last year. But it's like, I'm not so worried about it. I just want the thing to run good. But if I was building like the Mustang engine, when I built it, I actually had my guy rebuild that crank zeroed out. That sucker's 0 to 0. It was brand new basically, because I knew that it was going to get beat up on, the crank in I think I did that to the crank that's in my Malibu too. That one's zeroed out. It's a 355, but it's nothing special. It's got a 268 cam in it. It's a fast car if you really want to get on it, but I got to rebuild the rear end in it. I got all the stuff to rebuild the rear end right too. I don't care. I go by feel.
Yep.
Well, Buff's going to cost me a lot of money because of all this Pontiac talk. Now I want to get back and fix my Trans Am because I miss driving my Pontiac. Actually, Jay, you had a part in that too. Blame both of you for that, you bastards.
Yep. We're good at that.
Well,
yeah.
When I was working on that, what day was it? Friday, I was tearing that rear end apart on that AMC Javelin. And I started thinking about guys that I knew that might have one, right? And it's like he must have heard me. But a guy I know that used to race Javelins, 390 automatic cars, sometimes he'd run a 4-speed, calls me out of the blue. Guy I talked to last year calls me out of the blue. He says, I was looking at the backyard, Jay, and I think it's time to get rid of them.
Wow.
I said, get rid of what? And he goes, Jack, we're talking about 4 Javelins, 3 early 70s Hornets, 2 Gremlin X's, and I'm probably going to bring them all home.
I have room in my yard. I'm just saying, there's room in my yard for at least 1 or 2 of those.
One of those AMX 401 automatic.
I'd take a Gremlin. I'm just saying. I need something else. And
here's the thing: is I was talking to Amber about it. I'm sitting there like this, getting ready to get yelled at. Like we just got done discussion. No more project cars. I got enough. And I'm like sitting there like this, and I'm like, "Well, there's 2 Gremlins. What? There's Gremlins?" I was like.
I mean, I'll take a Javelin. I'll take a Hornet. I don't care. I just need to relocate some of those to my yard. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
we know what Jay's channel is going to become now.
As I was telling, I was talking to Dalton. I said, "Shit, now it's going to be Irish AMC Garage."
Yeah, and Justin, yes, free storage. It's always free. I own a block, a whole city block.
The other thing that happened was as soon as I told Amber that, she was talking about the Gremlin. Oh, man, I'd love to have the Gremlin. She's like, well, look, here's a privacy fence, $75 a sheet, 6x6. And just start fucking throwing them back here. And like,
yeah, if the prices come down, I'm all about it. Because right now I can go to Harbor Freight and buy a tarp cheaper than a fence. But, yeah, I need fence.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to get them all, and I'm going to find a place to stick them here. Do one at a time.
I have a yard. Very, very big yard.
Snow covers all my cars. It's fine.
Yeah, we don't have that anymore. Right? Well, no, I think we just got a warning that it might happen again.
Yeah, they haven't come by this year. They will, but they haven't yet.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anybody yet. Anymore, though, they just get the call, "Oh, yeah, we'll go check it out," and then they just hang
out.
Well, that's good. I don't get bothered out where I'm at, so I'm happy about that. That's one of the reasons I moved out to the country. I'm just like yard full of cars, and I'm happy. Good.
Yep.
So I got family to my right and metalhead to my left. I'm good. Nobody back there cares because the guy that owns a welding shop behind me, I buy all my metal from him. And then the guy back here, he just loves my cars. So it's just like, okay, it's always somebody that's driving down the highway and goes, "Oh my God, look at all those cars. This is an eyesore." And they're from like frickin' Indiana.
Yeah, I have a public park next to my house. And now there's a kind of a hippie, Frisbee golf, whatever that's called, thing that they've added in the last year. I'm like, yay. So if I ever try to video outside, all you hear is the Frisbee thing hitting the chain. And
but what's going to happen is those Frisbee guys are going to complain about your eyesores and they're going to try to get you kicked out of your yards.
But what's going to happen is make sure you mute your YouTube.
You
kicked out of your yards. But what's going to happen is make sure you mute your YouTube. Yeah. You'll get it.
Hey guys.
Yeah. Make sure you mute your YouTube. We'll stay on the StreamYard.
I'm trying to bring her down here, trying to figure this out.
All right. First time, take it down. You'll get it.
There we go.
It's still there a little bit.
You guys do this and listen to what's going on.
Yeah. But yeah,
what happens with the YouTube and just keep the StreamYard.
Yeah, you turn off the YouTube, you stay on the StreamYard, and that cuts out all the what you call it. Yeah, that's messed up that you're just down the road from me, literally like 20 minutes. He's trying.
Yeah.
And this is all new to me, guys.
Oh,
Yep.
I did the same thing my first time.
Stay on the StreamYard, and that cuts out all the what you call it. He'll get it. Yeah, that's messed up. That you're just he's listening to the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying that we wasn't too far apart. But yeah, I've lived here all my life.
I'll be dang. So yeah, make sure you shut off the YouTube completely. Leave your StreamYard on. He's listening to the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying that.
It's funny listening. There it is.
This for some reason it is not letting me hear what's going on.
Here. You'll get it. I did the same damn thing.
There it is.
I did the same damn thing.
Yep.
You'll get it. But
Irish.
Irish,
Type it in.
Jay,
That's right.
I'm just gonna have to come over and you're gonna have to show me how to do all this stuff.
you don't want to learn from me.
I'm just gonna have to come over and
Yeah, it's picking up your YouTube browser or whatever browser is open. It's picking up your YouTube browser or whatever browser is open.
It's weird hearing everything backwards,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
like off a thing. Are you there now? Weird hearing everything backwards.
Yeah, I know, right?
Nope, he's still hearing it backwards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
A little bit of a delay.
but yeah, like where I bought the motor from my friend Travis, he just lives down the road from there. So, but he was talking about he mentioned the Jesse Storms. I used to be an A-Bait member, and I played all of Jesse Storm's parties. They were this wild Harley party, and we'd start at like 9 o'clock at night. We wouldn't stop till 4 or 5 in the morning, and it was just a big drunk fest. And I played in a couple different bands down there, actually. But
I noticed a question in the chat earlier. Do we want to answer that about what everyone's bringing to the no name?
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this set up to where I can hear you guys. I heard you talking about Jesse's and stuff, and yeah.
hold on a minute. Let me see if I can. Well, how did that happen? Some gun. Why is my thing not? Oh, here we go. Well, how did that happen? Some gun. Turn off your YouTube. I'm trying to tell him how to do it on the chat, but no, I
Turn off. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, that's turned off.
there you go.
Is
You
that
hear me?
better?
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yeah.
now you're perfect. Right there.
We go.
You always mute or shut off your YouTube. And
Okay.
Yeah.
I just private chat just now popped up.
Yeah. I just
Well, I
said
can read it.
that. That's all you need to do right there. Just shut off your YouTube, or depending on your browser, you can go up to it and you can click over and mute YouTube that way, but there ain't really any reason for it to stay on.
Right.
Because you should be able to, up on the top, you'll see comments, and you can just put that on. Yeah, it took me a second
okay.
too.
I appreciate that. Oh yeah, there everything is. Cool. Hey, I'm learning.
Yeah.
You're all good. Take
So
a minute. Figure it out.
did you go to Effingham, or did you go?
Dietrich.
You went to Dietrich.
Yep, I went to Dietrich.
I went to T-Town.
Oh, poor Pearhead.
Yeah, whatever, you moving moron.
Here
Here we go.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man.
Funny how that stuff doesn't matter quite as much when you get older, eh?
No,
Yeah.
it don't, man.
Where did
Whenever
you
gotta,
find that old Pontiac?
believe it or not, it was actually south of Mount Vernon. And then it's got a really neat story. If people haven't watched my channel, originally it was driven into the 1970s, and then down in Mississippi, it was a Mississippi Georgia car. It got parked in a garage or barn until 2008 when a boy or a man from Nashville, Tennessee went down and found it, bought it. He rebuilt the engine but never fired it. He rebuilt the transmission, which now I've found out that there was a reason why he probably never got to it. Is the man passed away. So in 2011, his wife or kids had sold off his estate. The guy that I bought it from, believe it or not, when his boy was on his way down there to get the car, he was on his way to Springfield to have open heart surgery. So it then got parked in a barn for, I don't know, until 2 years ago. It got rolled out because they were putting other vehicles in it. And he just never did anything with it. And he wound up selling it. And it was actually on Marketplace for probably a good 4 or 5 months. And I almost bought it first. Instead, went all the way down into Middle Kentucky and bought my other one, which doesn't have the engine and transmission in it. And then I wound up buying this one because I did the research on the Chieftains and realized it still had the original engine, transmission. It was a survivor car. And, I verified that. And then I had Craig come up and he verified it too. And he's worked on these ponchos for 30 plus years. I mean, he knows a lot on these Chieftains. So,
well, I think I remember seeing that car on Marketplace.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing a pink Chieftain. It looked like it was, you know what I mean?
Dirty, nasty. It actually looked like someone had tried patina in it, or they'd put some kind of rust remover on there and then never removed it. But there was also places where someone had went through there and just sprayed weird white lines here and there on it. So I don't know what they were doing. I don't understand that. These cars have natural patina. If you get rid of that and you repaint it and then try to get it, well, that's man-made patina. And they all look good as far as I'm concerned. It's just I like the natural patina, the way, and we've named her Camille. I think she's really come out. You got all the cracks, the breaks, the scratches. You've got her story all in the dents and everything that's already in the paint. So, and I love that I'm bringing that back out, and it's shiny. It looks good. I enjoy that look.
Yeah. So I get crap from the main car that I get crap for is my Cutlass. The 72 Cutlass was actually burnt in a fire that they put a bonfire next to it. So the passenger door has this great big burn, and everybody's like, "Oh, you should sand that down." I said, "No." I said, this thing's been burnt. It's up on its side. It's been on its roof. It's been, they just flipped it over and started taking crap out of it.
Yeah.
My understanding is when they took the motor out, they unhooked everything and then flipped the car over so the motor would fall out.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm leaving all this. The hood's all messed up. I got the original hood too. But yeah, I'm fine with people that want to restore things that are nice. I don't have any problem with that. I really don't have a problem with LS swapping if it damn thing's on the road. That's all I care about.
Yep.
But on the other side of that, I had an argument with somebody the other day on the ambulance and that new video I put out. And I just kind of said, look, if I can't be sitting there talking to my buddies and put my beer down on the hood, I don't want it.
Yep.
Because that means it's only going to pop its head out for certain car shows, and you're going to be sitting there behind you in a chair, watching so kids don't touch your car.
Yeah.
Right.
Or that big old thing trying to polish it out and do all that. That ain't me.
No.
I get crap because that Javelin, I was driving that last winter like nothing. I was doing donuts in the mall parking lot.
Oh, now don't you know you're not to drive your classic cars in the winter?
No, I know.
That's the biggest thing I hear that, and yeah, I just you know what I want to drive it. You know,
Yeah.
if it ain't got no heat, it ain't got no heat. But you know what? I enjoy these cars. There is nothing like them. The older you get, it's classic. It's got its own feel. It's got its own vibe. You
Yep.
just can't get that from anything new today. And my feel is once you have one of those resto mod made ones, it's you lose that feel, you lose that ride, you lose the smells. I mean, it's all there. To me, a classic is a classic.
That's speaking of smells.
I don't mind missing some of that mouse smell though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine smells like mouse. So
Yeah, you know what? I think
I
all of
cleaned
them's
a
got
lot
a
of
little,
that, but yeah,
all of them's got a lot of mouse, mildew, and whatever else that was left.
I got in my Cutlass the other day. I ain't been in it for a few months, and I opened the door and I about passed out. It was so bad.
Oh,
And I
man.
opened the door and I sit down and I started it up because I start them all like a couple times a month through the winter. I'll start them all, circulate them, all that stuff. And I sit down in it and I start the Cutlass up and I look, and it was an air conditioned car. So it's got all the vents across, you know, the Cutlass style vents across it. Right in the middle of all that is the ashtray. I'm thinking, oh my God. That's why I remember when I was a kid, my dad drove a 72 Cutlass. That's the first car I ever sat in his lap and drove. And he smoked at that time. And it was no wonder that I got addicted to cigarettes, because he'd throw me in the back seat and he'd be putting a cigarette with the windows closed and a cigarette in that damn thing, and the air from the heater is just zero concern for child safety. But they're all like
back
that.
then.
For the
Guys, I gotta head out.
happens on the side where the air conditioner vent comes back, and he had them all in the back seat. You know, it's yeah, they all have an ashtray in the back.
Oh yeah.
Every one of them.
yep.
But that Javelin even has the crank down back windows, you know, like a Dodge.
Yeah.
So, and you guys were talking about the vent windows. The ambulance has the crank open vent.
Yeah,
window.
mine cranks.
Yeah, my vent windows do the same. They you got to push a little latch over to unlock it. It's just like a garden gate latch, you know, and then you crank it and open it up. But it's also the very first year Pontiac came out with the hard tops in the 4-doors. So and that engine, it's a 316, which next year in 57 became the 347 and everything off. So up to 59, anything that's a reverse flow engine in those years, you can interchange the heads, the intakes, and stuff like that as long as it's reverse flow. After that, then you can't use the block anymore. So it's kind of neat, and I've been learning a lot of this. And Craig has actually taught me a lot of it, and then I do a lot of reading, a lot of research, because I've never dealt with any of these before. It's always been Chevys. I had a couple many years ago when I worked at Tri-Power Towing. I had 46 GMC. It used to be a fire truck, but it had no bed on it, 6-volt start. You know, I'd played around with some stuff, but I was never really serious. Didn't get serious here until I bought my first rat rod, which was the 47 Studebaker. So, you know, and I had to do a lot to it. And so I really, you know, I do my homework now. So
47 Studebaker.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You always run it up here in T-Town?
I never did have it at T-Town. Both times the T-Town thing went on, I wound up having issues with something or other, or I wasn't able to get off of work, so I wasn't able to make it. But I did do the Effingham cruise in. I made, well, a lot of people did, but I was one of their headline pictures through the radio station and the newspaper, I guess. But it's an M15 pickup truck, and it had been shortened on the back. It had 51 International bed wood. I think I put something on my channel about it once. I'm getting ready to rebuild it.
Where did you get that from?
I got that from Mike down in Clay City.
Ha!
Yep, you know, I figured you know.
Yeah. Yep, I know exactly who that is.
Yep, he had a friend that actually built it and traded it to him for a bunch of parts. I paid a pretty good price for that to find out it had no firewall, no floorboards in it. It was chicken wire, and And it's all it was chicken wire and license plates. So I got to learn how to fab, and start making stuff like that. I don't know.
It's like a Dalton thing right there.
Oh man, I tell you what, you want to talk about jumping in the fire, buy something like that, and then make it to where you actually want to run and drive it. Because when I got it, all they did was winch it up on a trailer. They'd take it off at the shows. They'd do a burnout or two in it because it had a 455 in it, and it was so hot that they couldn't drive it down the road, so they never did. Well, guess what I wanted to do? I wanted to drive it everywhere, and I did. So I had to start fabbing.
Yeah, well, my ambulance was Ayuka's ambulance.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
It was sold to them from a place up by Bloomington, and they used it until the 70s, and that's when they started getting, vans and stuff like that to make the ambulances out of, and they ended up selling this thing in an auction, and a guy bought it. This was in the early 80s, and a guy bought it, and he bought it to the guy that I got it from to work on it because it sat for so long. The carb was screwed up and it had the old, quadra junk on it, and it was locked up. They could never get it to run right, and they worked on it, got it to run right. Well, then the guy that had bought it in the auction or won it in the auction or whatever moved to Kansas and left the car at his house, and he said, well, do you want this thing? He goes, just keep it. Well,
wow.
Instead of taking care of it, he threw it in his frickin' swampland, and it just set it on, typical Midwestern morons, put it on railroad ties, and the railroad ties sunk. So it just went right into the damn, we used, if you find the video on there, we used a log skidder with a 1.5 inch cable to pull that thing out of there.
Oh, wow.
It was nasty. But the transmission worked. I did get it running. I got videos of me getting it running. It was locked up, and you name it. It was in the cylinders. It blew out what was left of the exhaust.
Oh yeah.
I got it running. I got the alternator in the garage. It's about that big old 140 amp ambulance alternator, and I converted it to a 1-wire. But yeah, that one came from there. The Cutlass came from south of. Oh, what's that town before you get to Robinson?
Oblong.
Oblong. Came about 8 miles south of Oblong, out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Pulled it out. Found it. A buddy of mine found it on a derby site, and said, "Jay, you need to get this." And I paid $300 for it.
Wow.
Oh, that ain't bad at all.
Then I had a 455 Olds and a Turbo 400 that I had. Buddy of mine rebuilt the transmission, and then I rebuilt the engine. And it's a one-wheeler, one-legger, but it's fun as hell to drive. But it's got that Type O rear end in it, so I may put a damn locker in it, just put a mini spool in it and be done with it.
Oh, yeah.
I just drive it. And then my Ranchero, that one came from originally the guy that owned it that passed away was from Fairfield. And then I got it from a guy in Salem. He was going to crush it. And I said, no, you're not.
Was that the old junkyard there on the north end of town?
No, it wasn't that junkyard.
Bovard or whatever it was?
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that one. But now this one came from this old man had it in his barn, and his widow sold it to these guys that thought they were Vice Grip Garage, and they tried starting that old 351 modified without priming the oil pump and ruined the bearings in it.
Oh, yeah, that's
that for 12 years, They ain't like a small block where you can just, crank them up and, unhook the distributor and crank them up. No, you literally got to get the, thing down in there and get her primed before you take off. Remember that. Prime the motor before you go starting it.
Yep.
Or at least crank it for a while without it firing off.
Right. Just unhook the coil or power or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That was one thing I never liked. And I had that discussion with him actually on Power Tour. I said, I don't like the idea of you showing people to just goddamn turn that thing over with that old oil in it. I don't like that. You don't know what's in that friggin' oil.
No.
Okay. You know it's going to start if it turns. It's going to start. So change the oil.
Yeah.
because more than likely that thing sat, and the guy that ran it was a guy that used frickin' Quaker State and Pennzoil and Fram oil filters and probably never changed the oil, but every 10,000 miles, when it stopped leaking, they changed the oil. Yeah. Oh, well, crap, it's out of oil. Let's go ahead and spin a new pH 8A on that Ford and throw, 2 gallons.
It's already empty.
Yeah. Or they get their oil from Rural King, throw that garbage in there.
I know people that the only way they change their oil is every time they put a quart in. They figure $5 a month is an oil change. So and that filter's been on there since
just got to spin that filter off every once in a while.
Yeah.
I'm guilty though. I rebuilt that 455 and I ran it in its break-in oil for about 5,000 miles. I was like, well, might as well break in them bearings good.
Yeah, it got all the vitamins it needed, I guess.
Well, I didn't know how many miles I put on it. It's probably don't work.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
I had an excuse. I don't know how many engines I've built. It's over 1,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
Every one of these things, I would take the intake off, and it was like Russian roulette. Like, I'm going to take this intake off. The valve covers, somebody could have cleaned that up. You go take that intake off, like that Pontiac 400 I got in here. It's out of a 74. You can literally take a spatula and scoop the shit out of the valve.
Oh, man.
And I got that crap all over the inside of the house. Amber was pissed. But
that stuff sticks to you like the old slack used to whenever you put that on your stuff. You can't get rid of that sludge when it gets on you. It sticks to everything.
I use the heads off of that motor. They're 4X heads because the 16s or 15s, I can't remember. I think they were 16s that were on that ambulance motor. They were cracked. They were just junk from sitting in the water. So I didn't want to try to find them. I had those 4Xs. And I was going to clean them off out here. I thought, I'll just pop them off. I'll clean them out here with the pressure washers and, whatever, super clean, Purple Power, whatever the hell I get a hold of. And I took one look at him and said, nope. I threw him in the back of the dually and I went up to the car wash. And that shit is still all over the back of that dually. And that was over a year ago.
Oh.
And I washed that dually at Streak and Beacon.
Oh,
and
really?
That shit couldn't even get it off there.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I've got a 429 Thunderjet in the garage that I'm wanting to tear apart, but I ain't got nothing to put it in yet. I do have a Dodge pickup, though. Maybe I'll put that Ford in that Dodge.
There you go.
Make it run better.
Oh, yeah.
But, actually, I think I'm going to LS swap that truck. That just angers
everybody.
Oh, I know. Well, like I was talking with you earlier, on the other show that, possibly doing the 454 or LS swapping it, or I got a 383 stroker engine that I've been building and just stopped because whatever reason. And you just don't know, like on the Pontiac sites and the clubs I'm in on Facebook, when you mention some of that stuff, wow, does everyone get touchy? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Before Hunter blows up your chat, let's just man. I love that Hunter is a purist Pontiac guy because every time I have a question, he's got the answer. He's got schematics. He's got manuals. He can tell me exactly what I need to know. But at the end of the day, he respects my ride. I respect his ride. He knows what I had to do to get my car running in 90 days. And it wasn't to hunt down the numbers matching engine. It was, here's a garbage 2005 LS sitting over here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to just throw it in the car.
Yeah.
And people talk crap on it. And at the same time, my car drove. It did not race. I didn't quite have it done enough to race. But it drove around the pits. And I think that's good enough after 90 days.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's on some of these builds, I'm taking my time with Camille just because I'm learning a lot. And two, I want to keep it as original as possible. Now, for the other one that I bought, that is fair game as far as I'm concerned. I've got one that's in pristine survivor condition, and I'm keeping it original as much as I can. The other one, on the other hand, it's no holds barred.
Right.
Stick whatever
It's
I got.
a lot more fun when you can just
Exactly.
do whatever you want.
Right. I
So-
don't have to worry about the originality of it. I don't have
That's
to.
like with the 82 Trans Am I'm working on. Nobody gives a crap about it. No one cares because they weren't that great of a car to begin with. And it's not like it's a special edition. I mean, it is the first year they made them, but
I was going to say that style. Yeah, that was the first
But-
year. Wasn't it?
this one's been jumped over the railroad tracks and probably ran through the creek bottom, and it's rough. So
Been
when
there,
I
done
said
that.
I'm taking this 2005 Suburban suspension, not frame, suspension and drivetrain, and shoving it up underneath this Trans Am, everybody's like, "How are you going to do that?" Watch, cut and torch and welder. That's how I'm going to do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, what am I out? A few $100, really.
And it's surprising how many people will cut at you because you do something like that to get that thing going back down the road. Guess what? Whether it's a Firebird or a GTO, whatever it is, you're getting it done. You're doing something. You're bringing something that was going to be crushed, smashed, turned into, sold to China to be made into new parts for us to put on our stuff, newer stuff. We're saving it. We're keeping it, and we're driving it, and we're enjoying it.
And that's what hunters, that's where we agree is, my 63 could have been sitting out under the tree where it sat for 40 years. And instead it's sitting in my driveway, slammed on air ride. Yes, it has an LS in it, but it's not in the woods anymore. People drive by my house now just to see that car. My trash guy, the guy that picks up my trash every week, he will come out if I'm out there and be like, I love this car. Like everybody loves the car.
Yeah,
that's why I keep it parked outside. It helps with the patina.
Exactly. Well, and see, a lot of people don't know, like these the Pontiac Chieftains that I got, the 55, 56, 57. The hardest part about, and the reason is finding parts for it, is because they were the go-to parts for all the Chevy guys, the 55, 56, 57, the doors, the trim, the windows, the glass, it all interchanges. So
and we just did a Pontiac Power Hour about the Tri-5s, and it's interesting to see how much of that is interchangeable.
Yeah. Now, if you bought a Canadian car during those years, it had the Pontiac frame, or the Chevy frame,
yep.
and the Chevy engines and drivetrain in it. But if it was U.S. made, it had the X frame underneath of it, and it was all Pontiac. So yeah.
Now, yours all 4 doors?
Yeah, both of them. The Camille is the hardtop, and the other one, which we haven't got a name or anything for it yet.
You should check out DD Speed Shop.
I do. I watch Dan all the time.
He's awesome to meet.
I know.
In person, he's awesome. And what he does with those 4 doors, making 2 doors, which I'm okay with a 4-door. I don't have a problem with it. But he, for some reason, and of course, right now he's redoing his old ladies.
Yep.
That was one of his first ever, and you can see all of his mistakes.
Yep.
So now he's like, you look at his new ones compared to his old one, and you're like, "Ooh, boy, that took some." He got a lot better over the years.
Well, that 63 Biscayne that he did not too long ago, that turned out good. And I have actually tossed that around about getting the 2-door front doors so I could move the posts back. And I thought about doing that. I don't know that I want to do that right off, but it is something I've actually talked about with Craig, the guy that I don't know if you've watched too many of the videos, but he's down in Florida. He's got a lot of them, and he has a lot of 2 doors, and I've kind of tossed it around. I'm not for sure it's what I want to do, but I don't know. I'm just going to have fun with it. I think I just want to put something mean and nasty and loud and in your face kind of thing. Like, oh my gosh, what's coming up here? And then what is that? Oh, is that a Chevy? No, it's a Pontiac.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing is they'll look at it and go, look at the front end of it. That don't look, oh my God, that's a Pontiac.
Exactly.
You don't see them. They're not at, unless you're at a Pontiac car show, nobody has them. That 402 that I just got from Travis.
Yeah.
That's actually going in Amber's square body. And I'm going to build that one. That thing's going to be rowdy and nasty loud. I'm gonna actually take a little bit more care of building that one. It won't have a shop, a shelf cam in it. It's gonna be like I used to build motors. So, but I'm still not gonna give away everything. I'm just gonna build it. And the thing is, at No Name Nationals down there, we're gonna have a 402 war is what we're gonna have, because there's 3 of us with C10s that are gonna have 402s in our trucks.
Ooh.
So, and Amber works for, we'll say the junior high over here. Where and she drives the Javelin. She drove in the Ranchero. Now she's gonna start driving the ambulance. She's gonna start, and the kids love it. They're like, "What is all this crap? Where do you get this?" And then the ambulance is gonna freak people out as soon as they see it driving around town.
Yeah.
But that square body, it's gonna have 3-inch pipes. It's gonna be
gotta let her breathe.
Wild. The transmission's already done. And I'm sure you probably know my transmission guy if I told you the name. I'm not going to say it on here. But let's just say he's been in the business a long time. Lives in Sigel.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So he's already got the trans built for it. It's built, should withhold anywhere from 500 to 700 horsepower.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And I'm going to see what I can do. It started out as she just wanted it because it looks like her dad's old truck. She's from Edgewood, by the way.
Oh.
So it looked like her dad's old truck. And that's kind of what she just wanted to drive, this old rickety-ass truck with loud exhaust on it and all that. Well, that's turned into her looking through the LMC book.
Oh, man.
Consulting about what can we do to fix this.
LMC, let me count more cash.
Yeah.
It's about an hour from me, by the way. It's just right up the road.
It's
Really?
actually cheaper for me to drive there and buy the parts right there at the building than for me
shipping
to buy
is
them.
crazy. Yeah.
Because the shipping, you're talking a whole fender.
Oh, yeah.
And all that.
Freight. Yep.
I mean, I could get them off of eBay and it's free shipping, cheaper from some who knows what, but then you're getting something that's as thick as paper.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing. So I got people calling, texting me all kinds of crap. Leave me alone. But I mean, we probably know a lot of the same damn people.
Oh, I'm sure
we've probably crossed paths before. You've had to have seen my cars running around.
Oh yeah.
And if you were coming from your hometown headed to where I'm at, you've been by my house.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're at.
Big ass skeleton, a lot of Halloween shit all the time. Yeah.
Yep.
Can't miss my house. 50 cars, loud music. There's, I'm just glad you're not one of the guys that likes to pull up and just go walking through the cars. That.
Yeah, I've actually had that happen out here. I had my bone row of different projects and stuff. I had a bunch of Jeeps and cars and a few other things. And I actually had that happen one day. I was in the garage and I seen this newer vehicle go by that goes down to the old property that used to be back there where my grandmother's house and garage was. And he parks and gets out and just starts walking back there. And I finally come out and I said, "Hey, what are you looking for someone or something?" "Oh, I just seen all these vehicles from the road here, and I figured I'd stop and see if maybe I could buy something or if anything was for sale." And I was like, "Well, this is private property. You're welcome to come up and knock on my door and talk to me and ask me if something's for sale, but don't start walking through my stuff back there. I mean, I don't know you." He was an older gentleman, so I was very nice, polite. I'm sure he didn't mean any harm, but again, I didn't know him, and I know other people that's ran through the same problem. It's just crazy that people can just think they can walk on there and just start browsing your stuff. And it's like, dude, come on.
I put a disclaimer on one of my videos is, my old lady was, Air Force security forces. And she's, not to mention my 4 dogs. I got posted signs. So you come up here, my dog gets a hold of you. That's on you.
Don't worry about the gun. Don't worry about the dog. Worry about the wife.
Yeah. You come close to Mama Bear's cubs, you're going to get in trouble.
Exactly.
But and I tell people, man, anybody that comes up, if they want to come to the door and knock, hey, could you show me your cars? Or yeah, let's go out and look at them. Number one, they're not for sale.
Yep.
You know, and then I get the guy one time. He come up here. He says, "Oh, you're one of them, huh?" So what do you mean one of them?
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, you keep everything. You're going to get to that someday." I said, "No, actually, I don't like them kind of people."
Yep.
I said, "You can walk out there right now, bring the keys out. We'll start and fire up every one of these." I said, "I don't have to get to them someday. I drive them just the way they are."
Yeah.
Of course, I got a back 40 back there, as I call it, that has some that are, but there's only there's only 2 back there that don't run and drive. All my shit runs and drives, except for the square body and right now the ambulance, because Jav ain't got no legs.
He got no legs.
She runs just fine. She just ain't got no legs. But yeah, I'm sure we crossed paths a few times.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure we will now more, hopefully.
Probably.
I do have that 383 stroker. It's the first time I've ever built one, so I've kind of been taking my time, and yeah, maybe we can get together sometime and have a little fun building it or something.
Yeah. Hell, start a YouTube channel, Dad. I literally got out of my semi, ran in here, said hi to everybody, put the computer up, started watching Pontiac Power Hour, and like going through to make sure I got everything right. Like, and then I started live. So here I am.
I did sub you, PJ, because I want to check out all your cars.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I went through it after seeing the Irish channel and everything. And my buddy Josh is actually the one that turned me on to it, because I think he was watching some of mine, and then yours actually popped up as a playlist, and he started watching. He's like, "Dude, that guy's from Effingham," And I was like, "Really?" So I went and checked it out, and I was like, "Man, I know exactly where that is." And and then I went through and seen some of the people that you follow and stuff too, which Buff and Mongrel and everybody else. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to check these guys out and see what they're all about.
You should look into this No Name Nationals thing. It's a blast.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it. Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
It was brand new last year.
Really?
This is year 2, 2023.
Really?
Yep.
What exactly?
It's a family reunion where a drag race breaks out.
Really?
Sykeston, Missouri, at Jeffers Motorsports Park. It was last year, and it is this year. It's sanctioned by AHRA, American Hot Rod Association.
Oh, that's cool.
John Wilburn, who was I don't know if he's still in here. He's in the chat.
He was in there earlier. Yep.
He's the main promoter, and he takes care of everything. You get in the No Name 500, which
you're almost there, PJ.
You get to 500 subscribers. If you're entered, you get to 500 subscribers. You're in. We had a guy last year, bless his heart. He actually got to the event and basically sat on the corner and was getting his subs and got in.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you can come if you want. There's John. Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah, I see him there. He just popped up.
They do content creator stuff on Friday nights, and he'll have some stuff there, and they did it on Sunday. I'm thinking they're going to do it again this year, but you get 500 subscribers, you go down, it's just a bunch of guys just like us. You go down there and you can race, not race, burnout contests. There's, and not like you see the idiots slamming into walls and stuff like.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that with Camille. If I went down there to do it, it's just going to be a nice, easy flow down the strip just to say I did it.
I ran the ambulance, ran 11:67. 0.5 of a second slower than that damn javelin. The javelin almost got beat by the friggin' ambulance.
I had the fastest 63 Pontiac Grand Prix on air ride and LS engine. And all I did was go around the pits. That's all I did.
And you know what?
Can you put up?
I would just love getting together and just seeing. I love the community.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Can you put up the website buff.
No name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
But yeah, there's a whole thing in it. It was well worth it. We had a blast. I was a little busier than everybody else, but because of I was helping out with the sound stuff, so I didn't put anything in the burnout contest. I tried to burn out that ambulance in the water box, and it wasn't having it.
Really?
Too heavy of a car.
John's all about this. He's got the bracket race, the 28-10-5 race, which is an additional fee, but everything else is included in your fee. 28-10-5 is the only thing that's extra. You got your call out races, so you can call anybody out. Big burnout contest.
Bring down a camper. There's hotels.
Yep.
You can stay right there on the track.
And there is no better announcer than Ron Ward.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing announcer.
He was awesome, and I even ended up with a Pontiac Javelin. I still give him crap about that.
Here's the best part of the whole event. So if you're a YouTuber, because you have to be if you're going to be in the event, right? You're not just hanging out with car guys. You're hanging out with car guys that also YouTube. So when I was working on my car, yes, I had multiple cameras there, but so did everybody else. So half of my footage for my time at No Name Nationals came from everybody else because they all filmed it for me and then sent me the footage. So that's just the coolest thing ever is you've got, 100 plus, 200 plus YouTubers hanging out with you, filming the whole time. And then if you want to talk about editing or metrics or the algorithm, they're all there. They'll talk to you about it and they'll tell you they don't know anything either.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's just a good time.
I tell you what, a lot of people don't realize is anyone that of us, and you guys know it, anyone that does YouTube, if you film for an hour and a half, you can spend 2 to 3, 4 hours trying to edit it, trying to get it to where it's not boring, or trying to use music that YouTube isn't going to flag, or
right.
And that's some of the hardest things to do, especially when you're new at it and you're not for sure what you're using is the best one, or it can almost be nerve-wracking. I've actually got to the point where I try to make one cut. I know we all do. We want to do it in one swoop, but guess what? 7 times the intro, because you, like me, a lot of times, I don't know what it is. Whenever I turn that phone on me to do my videoing, my mind just goes blank. I know everything I want to say, but it's gone. Especially when I see myself talking to myself, and that's some of the worst. So it's something to get used to, and it's not an easy thing to do because no matter how good you are or being new, there's always going to be someone out there that's going to heckle you or tell you, "Hey, get back to work, quit yapping. We don't want to hear you." There's times when we don't have parts, and we're keeping everyone up to date of what we're doing, where we're going from here, Yep. And I like to keep everyone, up to date, So
Wolfpack here, volume normalization, the hardest part. Not for me, because that's like I'm a sound engineer. I'm like Scotty from Halfwit Labs. I'm a musician, and that is the only thing that makes it a little bit easier for me when it comes to talking to a camera. I'm already small E entertainer, so I'll just start some random crap. But now I've got to the point where I started watching my own videos, and I got asked this question, "Man, you're getting some serious views and getting some stuff like this," because I stopped and I looked at what I was doing and I completely erased it. Like, nope. Because I started thinking, I don't want to watch this crap. I'm not going to watch myself do this crap. And if I don't like it, why would anybody else that likes the same stuff I do like it? So I changed completely. And ever since I have, my views are up, my shares are up, my everything's up. And I'm like, okay. So, and I took some advice from some bigger YouTube channels, and I also quit not saying what I feel and when I want. I just bleep it out now. I've got a special sound that I downloaded.
Yeah,
that's on there.
Here's what I'll say: if you find that you're watching your video, you're rewatching it. I always try to watch my video before I put it out. And I'll be honest, if I ever hit the fast forward, that means that whoever's watching it's going to hit the fast forward.
Yep.
So take the advice of less is more, and it's okay to, what do you call those? The quick cuts that you guys do?
The shorts.
No. Jay and Dalton both do those little rapid cuts.
Oh God.
They're a pain in the ass, but I'm telling you, those
They
work
work.
because instead of having one full length thing, I always thought you had to take it in one take. But what I'm finding is most of our viewers, because they're so wrapped up in shorts and reels and you know Snapchat and what's the other one, TikTok, their minds can't process more than about 5 to 10 seconds. So if you keep them focused for about 5 to 10 seconds and then bam, you change it up on them, bam, you change it up on them, you're going to keep them watching longer. Because my average view time is about 10 minutes. So I went from having 30 to 40 minute videos down to 10-minute videos. Where Jay, I think yours increased, didn't it?
I went to, well, no, I was having hour-long, 45-minute videos. I'm down to 15, 20.
No, I'm saying your viewers actually retaining and staying.
Oh, yeah, my 20, like a 20-minute video.
Yep.
I had a 17-minute watch.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's huge.
That's monstrous. I was talking to what's his name over here at Lucor.
No, Austin. Yep.
He says, "What's your view duration?" I said, 17 minutes. He goes, "Are you effing kidding me?"
Right.
Like,
and
well,
he's a big channel that's like, how are you doing that?
Yeah,
and because
you just basically
keep them interested. People, no offense to the big channels, they're big for a reason, but nobody wants to just sit and be just, drawn into this long, hypnotizing, one take view. They want bam, bam. Yeah, halfwits called it jump cuts. They want that rapid fire every 5 to 10 seconds, changing it up.
And you don't have to film everything you're doing. Just say, this is what it is. This is what I got. This is what I'm doing. You do it. You show them. You go. Boom, boom. Throw a couple
on a car,
shit. Damn
and
it.
I would just hit record, and I would work on the car. And then I thought, well, I don't want to lose all that video, so I thought I had to speed it up or any of that. Nah, that doesn't work. I hung out with Dalton, and I found that Dalton will just sit there and shoot for like a couple minutes, and then he'll work on the car for hours, but he'll shoot another couple minutes. And he literally just stitches it all together with just those little bitty jump cuts, and it works out for him.
When I'm done, my cuts look like the old school comb. Just like it's constant, and it takes time. You got to hit that just right, and you got to spread that sucker out till you get all you can see on your audio line where you're talking. Yeah. And you just stop there. Yep. And that way it's just one little thing. I mean, you don't want to do completely cut it out,
right?
But the less talking head, the better.
Yeah.
That, this is what I'm doing. This is what we did. What do you think of this? Put something down in the comments, yada, 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 and just keep going through your thing. And I went from hour videos to cutting with more views down to a 15 to 20 minute video. Now, that ain't to say that I ain't going to put out an hour-long video.
Right.
Because I had enough. I've got enough footage of me building that damn 304 that could be 4 or 5 hour-long videos.
Yeah.
Because of waiting on parts, doing this, doing that. But I was looking at it all, and now, of course, like I said, I switched up my entire setup. I got rid of Adobe. I got rid of everything. I bought Filmora, and I'm relearning again because it's totally different. I'm relearning how to do it. So my next video isn't going to be perfect, but at least it's something close because I want to learn how to do all the, little things. When I'm screwing up, it zones in on what I'm screwing up, So
it's definitely a learning curve. It really is. Trying to know what they like, what you don't. And I do get a lot of good comments. I've only had a couple that I didn't care too much for, but you know what? Everyone's got something to say, and it's their opinion. So, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. But starting out, it's definitely it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
Because you're once you start putting stuff on YouTube, you're no longer just doing it for your friends and family and that's what I started out doing. I only did it because of the Pontiac Club that I was in. I didn't want to open up my private Facebook for everyone to access. So I was trying to share stuff, and the guy said, just do a YouTube channel, make something up, whatever, and share stuff. That way it's open. Well, I started doing that. Subscribers started coming and people started hitting me up, and it just, I had 300 and something in no time at all. And I was like, where's this all coming from? And it can get overwhelming.
It does. Wait till you're getting your ass chewed by somebody from the UK.
I've actually got some friends over in the UK, but I haven't got my butt chewed yet. I got them in Australia. I've got them down in Hawaii and Germany. I've actually had some people talk to me from Germany. It's kind of neat. I didn't think it was going that far, but hey, I think it's neat that the car community, and that's how I got into doing a lot of this, is watching YouTube, watching you guys and other people, learning, seeing them doing it and wanting to do it. And it helps me. And I'm sure a lot of the people that's watching now, it actually helps you understand what you're doing, or maybe something that you didn't feel like you were comfortable doing, but you see me do it. I'm a nobody. I've wrenched for a lot of years, but I seen this guy do it, and you know what? It doesn't look that hard. I'm going to try it, and it gives us a little more confidence, or it helps someone out, and it's kind of neat that I can be part of that. I'm sure you guys like that too. People that don't feel confident, they watch a video and they're like, man, I can do it, and they do it,
Well, I had a bunch of AMC guys, some haters. Okay. They're worse than Mopar. Trust me. And one of them guy goes and he watched it. He first didn't like my channel because I wasn't restoring the Javelin, but he started watching it, and he told me, he says, I've been searching everywhere on how to rebuild the front end of a 71 to 74 Javelin. You are it. And I said, dude, I didn't know how to do it. I just guessed, and I bought the tool, the actual good tool for it. And I did everything. And he's like, I would have never thought to get this tool. I said, yeah, man, eBay and Amazon and all this. It's actually the same tool you can use for the front of a 60s Mustang. It's actually built for both. And he's like, oh, this is pretty cool. So then he subbed, and he comments all the time. First, he was a hater. I'm like, I didn't know how to, I was guessing, because there is none. There are no Javelins other than if you want to watch that fancy one they put together in that Motor Trend show, but they don't show all that crap. They skip all the stuff and just say, why just take this crappy old car, spend everybody else's money on it, throw a big ass engine in, and we're going to go race it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And they don't tell you
that in there.
Yeah, they don't tell you it took them 100 hours putting it together.
Well, they got a $7,000 subframe they put up.
Yeah.
That's
just not realistic for the common wrencher or the do-it-yourselfer. I mean,
right.
And if you do have that, that's great. That's a good start. But again, that project may take you years, if not. My buddy Josh, he's got a 67 C10 that he's been working on for the last 18, 19 years. And he does get far with it, but he's very particular what he likes and how he wants to do it. And there's been times he's bought stuff, put it together, got it there, and then like, nope, I want to change this, or I'm going to change that. And
Jesus.
I get that. He's an awesome guy. And I keep getting on him, man, put it together. Now it's down to the part. I don't want to take it out yet because of the paint color. And,
I can't do it.
I know.
I would drive the damn thing.
It would have already drove me nuts having a motor and transmission in it. All that he's done to it, I could take it down the road. It would be driven right now until I'm ready to paint it. But that's his thing. Him and his dad finally started building it together. And, it's kind of a thing that he kind of keeps there and does it. And I get that, he's not wanting to, get rid of that project yet, that bond or whatever. And that's cool. He does have plenty of other, square bodies though he's working on right now. So he's got plenty of projects to keep him busy.
I'm that. I'm the guy that's not allowed in the local rebuilder's shop because they charge this guy like $80,000 to redo this GTO.
You're talking about the one under
Yep.
the underpass, yeah.
Okay, and I know the owner went to school with him. He's a okay, and I walked up to it, and he was bragging about this car like he had done it. It was actually his shop. He don't do a thing. The guy couldn't.
Nope.
He wouldn't know how to use a welder. So I get underneath there and I point out two things. I look at the frame horns, and they had done a full rotisserie and all that stuff. And they'd done the frame horns, and I looked at it and I said, "Who the hell welded this?" And I'm a terrible welder, but I'm like, "Who welded this?" And he's like, "What do you mean? It's perfect." I said, "Yeah, it's perfect. This is a 1970 or 69 GTO. Bob on the right side is hung over and probably lifted out on cocaine, and his wife just left him. And John on the other side is still drinking."
Yep.
Now you're telling me these are going to be perfect. And he goes, "Well, we want to sort of," I said, no. And I'm doing this just to be a dickhead, because he was out running around bragging about the car. And I know the guy that built the car, and he is a good dude. And next thing I noticed, paint runs on the Pontiac paint.
Oh, no.
Huge runs. And they painted the manifolds the same color as the motor.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
And I'm looking at it, and I said, "My God." And here's the owner walking by. Khakis, business looking, older gentleman.
New Balance. Yeah.
Friggin' tax write-off is all this thing is.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it. I said, "Yeah." I said, "Damn." I said, "What'd you paint this with?" And the guy that built it, and I know him, he says, "Well, I didn't paint it. I just built the car. I didn't paint the motor and all that. That was done at a shop." And I said, "Okay, well, number one, the paint's the right color, but why is the manifolds painted Pontiac light, metallic blue, whatever that color is, same color I got 5 cans of that crap out in the garage."
Yeah.
And he starts going off about different things. He's talking. And my buddy who worked there at the time, he don't work there no more. He's got a smirk on his face. He can hear what's coming. I said, if you're going to spend that much on a car, you'd think that, okay, you got perfect welds on your frame horns, but why is the paint running on the engine? We're not talking like you can see it is, how when the old men, like I got right here, you paint the house and it's like got these great big, it was that bad. And I was like, don't bring this to a show. You're going to be upset over your 80 grand.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, what? He made them pull the engine and redo it.
Wow.
It's good.
Because of me. And ever since then, I am not allowed anywhere near.
Well, of course not.
And they also tell me all the time, why don't you sell me that? Remember Heartland Classics?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The ripoffs of Illinois. They were terrible. They would take cornets, put a bunch of Super Beat crap on it, sell it for $12,000 back in the 90s.
Yep. And it was junk.
And it was garbage.
Yep.
A good friend of mine fell for the cheesy 442 that he traded a camper for. And I said, I looked over that thing, man. That thing's junk. It was out here at Peterbilt. I said, that thing's terrible. What are you doing? Oh no, it's this. No, it's a Cutlass with 442 badges on it with no floors, and the actual hump, the tranny hump was basically gone. I'm like, no. But we had a couple of them rip-off artists around here. And let's don't get me started on all the Mopar people. I tell people all the time that I don't hate Mopar, but I'm sick of them.
Yeah.
Good friend of mine, cousin, welding shop, Diedrich, had all this money spent on this damn car, and I parked my old crappy, I don't remember what was it. I think it was my Malibu. Parked it next to his, and people are circling my Malibu, which it's you get right on it. It's got scratches, rust holes, got everything. but it was people were so fascinated with this old street freak car,
Yep.
and they're walking around his, $70,000 build, and even Troy comes up to me and is like, God damn, I wish I had that car. I said, why? He says, because I could drive it.
Yeah.
That's what he says. He says, I wish I had a car that I could just drive. I said, well, you got the money, dude. Just go buy you some random Charger, put wheels and a motor on it, and take off.
Yep. You either got trailer queens or pavement queens. And mine's a pavement queen. She's not going to be trailered.
I just tell people I don't have garage ornaments.
Yeah, I know.
Everything I got, I drive it all. I don't want anything. I would say out of all my cars, though, if I had a choice, the one that gets restored, but I'd still drive it, is the Javelin, because it's one of 20,000, probably way less than that left on the road, because they're rusty piles of crap. But, it's rusty as hell. I got to do something.
Rusted or busted, it doesn't matter. It'll go
that
down
thing has more spray foam in it than any car I own.
Oh man, I've ran into that once, and that was on the first Chieftain that I bought. The rear dog legs were filled with foam. I was in there just wire wheeling the floor pans because I wanted to see what I had to work with if I had to change them. And I got over into that dog leg. It grabbed and pulled over, and the whole dog leg was just gone. And I'm like, oh man, this ain't good. Because guess what? They don't make them for a 56 Pontiac Chieftain.
Yeah, no.
And the closest thing I can get is for a 55 Chevy 210 post vehicle. And it's still not right. I have to fab it up. So I bought one side just to start fabbing. Well, then I wound up getting this other. I got Camille, and I haven't looked back. That'll all be later. I'll have to do that.
I use spray foam to just fill holes, like in the floor, because I put a crappy floor in it just to get it on the road, and I'll take that spray foam to spray it around the edges. I don't put it in frames and all that crap. It's just basically to fill holes to keep it from, air coming in or water coming up through and getting into carpet, or because that Javelin, man, if you go back and watch the videos, the floor on that thing, it's gone. All of my cars, the floors were trash. Even the Ranchero, when I put the transmission in it, the transmission hit the floor pan, and the whole floor pan went. It was easy to get in. You just shove it up and shove it forward.
Yeah.
Scott, I use friggin' Rust-Oleum.
Oh, yeah. That stuff's a lifesaver. It works good.
Well, he's saying for engines.
Yeah.
I use it, the Rust-Oleum, the all-in-one metallic that's got the primer and everything on it.
Yeah.
And then I had a guy on my AMC engine that I just built. He's like, please tell me you're, AMC guy, please tell me you're painting that the original AMC. Well, number one, the 74 AMC blue is crap. It's the same basic color as the GM blue they did in the late set. It's just terrible.
I was going to say, well, I thought maybe that was that powder blue, that light blue.
It is. It's like a really crappy, flat, lacquer looking. Yeah. So I actually painted it's spoiler alert. The color I painted it matches the 69 390. Oh. But when I got a hold of AMC Lives and all these, there's only a couple of AMC places. They wanted $70 a freaking quart. And I'm like, no. So I started color matching. Rust-Oleum, turquoise metallic. It's a perfect match. And I painted that sucker down. Thought, man, this thing's going to look great. Put all my Edelbrock crap on it. Stuck it down the car. You can't see none of it.
No.
It's covered. You can't see the color of the motor. You can't see nothing. I'm like, you know what? What a waste of damn time. But, if you get the picky AMC guy, they're going to look at it, and probably a good one's going to go, well, that's not the AMC, color for that year. And I'm going to say, I don't care. It's painted. It ain't rusted. It's pretty.
I was actually, speaking of engine paint, because I got that stroker out there, and I had a couple other old small block Chevys that I'd painted. I had actually taken the time, and I started kind of smoothing it. I was using I was going to use that self-etching high build primer to like cover the imperfections, so you had a good paint job, smooth and everything.
Yeah.
I actually found out watching other people on engine builds, they tell you don't want to do that because you're actually putting too much stuff on the engine block, and it actually will cause it to hold more heat and not be able to dissipate. So what they recommend you do is clean the block as clean as you can get it, degrease it, remove as much paint and stuff as you can. Best thing is some kind of stripper, and then you come back and you shoot it with automotive paint and then a clear coat, and it lasts just as long, if not longer, than any of the other high temp engine enamels and stuff. So I actually went and got some hot rod. I think it's called Hot Rod Red. It's like a candy red apple that match. What is that? It's that DuPont match color or whatever it is. I can't think of it now. It's in the cans. But yeah, I went and got some of it, and I've got it sitting out there. So whenever I do paint it, I guess it's going to be Hot Rod Red.
Yeah, I painted mine with refrigerator paint.
Oh,
whatever that stuff is you can get.
That like porcelain look.
I'm telling you, I had several cans of it on my shelf. I had no idea why, but they're all white, and everybody says, "Oh, you shouldn't paint your engine white." And I'm like, I'm going to paint the engine and transmission white because I have 4 cans of this stuff, and it's all refrigerator paint.
Yeah, that appliance paint.
Yeah, so it's all white.
Hey, one thing about it, using white, you're definitely going to be able to see where there's a leak.
Yep, I have found my leaks for sure.
Oh,
yep, that was the idea. Plus, it was free. You know, when you got all those cans of paint, you don't know why.
Oh yeah,
it's the way. It's
And I'm a true believer of using what you have around you too to do stuff. Oh yeah,
there you go.
There you go. Yep,
that is what I used. I used the blue on Blanche's engine, and I've had that sucker up to 225 degrees, and it's still held. Yeah. It's paint and primer.
Yep.
The thing is I learned painting on engines, many, that if you spray it on and let it sit for a long time, and then when you do its first heat cycle, like when you first start the engine, or say it's an old engine, you're just refiring it, you just cleaned it up. It's kind of like works like header paint. Start it up, let it heat up to get a heat cycle, shut it off and let it sit. It'll fry itself to the engine. This stuff works great. I couldn't believe it. But this color, I couldn't find it anywhere. Home Depot said they had it, but they didn't. Kept calling around, got on Amazon and ordered 2 bottles, and they back ordered it for 3 months. It was like brand new. They just came out with this color. And I ended up getting I ended up buying a whole damn case of this crap. So now I've used 2. I've got 4 more, and I used part of one on Zeppi's Pinewood Derby car that we just raced, and he got second place out of like 50 kids.
Awesome.
Cool. I built that one.
Nice.
And we just painted it this color, and everybody's like, "That's beautiful." I was like, "Yeah." $60 for 6 quarts of it, or 6 cans of it, which, I could have paid $70 for a quart of it, but then I got to get the mixing can out. I got to get all the hardener. I got to get the, that's how that paint was. And this is an exact match.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I'll use this. And I used the silver. I bought 2 cans of the silver too. And that's what I used for the oil pan and the intake. Because it had an old Edelbrock torquer, AMC torquer intake that you just couldn't clean it up. And I don't have a sandblaster, so I wasn't about to try, so I just painted it. And I painted it there, and it looks great. That's the only part you can see. But, yeah, I just use that kind of paint. I'm not a huge fan of Uncle Tony, but he proved it very well that you could brush on just paint. And you do that heat cycle, get it hot, and shut it off, and it'll just fry itself to the engine. I do recommend a primer. Dude, that's why this is all in one. If it didn't have a primer, I would have used a primer.
Right. But like me, whenever I was thinking about using that high build, that's not a good deal because you're putting multiple layers on. If you do it correctly, you have to put on multiple layers. to get it to fill the imperfections and pits, and all you're doing is heating up that engine, and that's not a good thing. Because like you were saying,
go ahead.
Like you were saying, you get them engines up to 225 or so. I mean, that's a normal operating temperature on a lot of them, 190, 225. It depends.
400.
Yeah. Yeah. That's whenever you start noticing problems.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that's wrong with this paint is make sure everything is covered. Do not do it in your garage. My freaking garage is covered in these little flakes.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Shit got in the motor, and I just, whatever. You know, it's not metal. I don't even know what it is. The filter caught most of it. So I have a painted valley that I didn't really want to paint. So, but it all come out. I checked the oil. Everything's good. But that's the only thing is make sure more and more. My nose and my lungs were hating me for a week.
I bet.
Spraying that crap.
You know,
it does get everywhere.
And I'm sure maybe you guys have done, you buy an engine or get an engine and you can see it's been painted and it's been ran. You pull the exhaust off of it, and what do you see in there on the valves? Whatever color paint. Yep. Yep. Yeah, exactly. People's like, oh, you can't do that. Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Although I tell people in the video, I could have built 2 small block Chevys or small block Fords for what I put in that 304. What a pain in the ass. They're expensive to build at AMC. And I got a 401. Everybody's like, why don't you just build that 401 and put it in? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, now let's buy pistons for a 401.
Yep.
Yeah. You're talking, you know, money like what you're building a 562 or 572, you know, 496 stroker. I mean, if you're going to do that, I mean, it's crazy. It's not cheap to build these older engines and stuff like that, especially if you want a little horsepower out of it.
I built the motor that was in my Mustang when I was in high school. The first one. Built a small block Windsor, and Dustin Sons Auto Supplies at Sullivan's store, OK Jobbers, they had a machine shop, right? They would do the holes and all that stuff. It was $6 a hole to go 30 over. Now it's, of course, nobody around here does it. Old boy in Clay City does. But now it's like $40 to $60 a hole to bore a hole in the motor to, you know, redo it, get it 30 over, 40 over, 60 over, don't matter. I built them race motors when I was a kid for $500.
Yeah, that ain't.
And that was expensive back then. Now it's, if I did everything to these motors out here that needed to be done, that 304 would have cost me $5,000 by the time it was over. And God, that 400 would have cost me more than that. That Pontiac engine would have cost me a friggin' fortune.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm finding that out.
And I'm like, I don't know.
Jay, I'm going to duck out, but I appreciate everybody tonight. I'm beat.
I'm getting there. I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and get back in the truck.
All right. Nice to meet you, PJ.
Hey, nice seeing you. Hopefully we'll see you on something else later.
For sure.
Have a good one.
Guys.
See ya.
But yeah, there ain't nobody around here does it. My dad worked at Dustin Sons 50 years. I grew up at Dustin Sons. Worked there, Walk's Garage, and D-Mergs.
Oh, really?
All at one time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
But everybody always thought my parents paid for my cars from me. No.
Yeah, that ain't the way it works.
My dad was from the hard times back in the 30s and 40s. So it was like they didn't you want it, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Very first car I actually wound up buying, my dad had gotten into an accident and wrecked his car, almost lost his life, but he needed a car and he didn't have a lot of money. So my very first car, I wasn't able to drive yet. I wasn't legal. I just already had it bought. I actually wound up giving it to him to drive it. So, and he didn't like that idea, but at the same time, you know, he was paying for the power and the food and everything that went on the table. So, you know, it was one of those things. But, you know, I was taught the same way. If I want a vehicle, I either get a job or I do something to earn it and get it. You know, there ain't none of this giving you stuff like it is today.
Well, I try to beat this into my kids. I got 3 kids, 27, 17 as of today. He just turned 17 and 7. He'll be 8 in a couple of weeks. And I try to beat that into their head. They're like, oh, you got so much, you know, you got all these cars and everything. Well, I worked my ass off for them too. I said, when I was a kid, I was 10 years old, 1985. Okay. I'm 10 years old.
Same here.
One of the Dust kids had a 200X Honda they wanted to sell. And I was already riding 90s, 110s, 125s, you know, the Hondas. We're all Hondas. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, so-and-so's selling that 200X. I'd like to have that. Oh, really? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, no. About a week later, I said, Dad, come on, you know, I'm getting too big for these 110s and 90s. I'm wanting to get a little bigger. And he goes, you really want this 3-wheeler that bad? 3-wheeler now. He said, you really want this 3-wheeler that bad? And I said, yeah, I do. And he says, you know, he kind of didn't say nothing. About an hour later, he says, let's go. So we went and hopped in his 82 Ford Courier, drove to Dust & Sons. I get out of the car, I shut the door, and he's still sitting in there with the window down. He goes, yeah, Nick's in there. Go tell him you need a job. I'm 10 years old. I walk in there, and he's like, if you want that 3-wheeler, you're going to buy it with your own goddamn money. I ain't buying it. So I went in there and sat down with Nick, and I worked at Dust & Sons until I was legal age for $1 an hour pushing a broom and putting away parts. I could tell you every part from every car American made because of, you know, but because I put them all away. I worked at the warehouse. I worked at the parts store. I was never allowed to work the counter. But my dad was the one in there that he passed away a few years ago, but he was the one in there that had 3 phones on him in the books. That's, you know, and I learned all that from him. He's the one that taught me how to do all this shit so cheap. But I actually take it a step above. I don't do it as cheap as he did. he would literally, we had an Alice Chalmers tractor, that the lawn tractor, you know, this thing was from the 60s. And all it needed to be perfect was the belt tensioner for the starter. It had the old big damn starter. I mean, this thing had a starter this big on it.
Yep.
And instead of doing that, what you had to do is push the clutch in with your right foot, take your foot and push in on the belt and crank it over. That way the belt would hold the starter.
That's crazy.
He wouldn't go to frickin' over here, Dittamore's.
Yeah, Dittamore's.
And buy the $5 piece that it took to put that belt tensioner on.
Well, that's $5.
The boot.
Yeah, that $5 is spent somewhere else.
At Kenner's.
Yeah.
That's where it got spent. Yeah. Kenner's in the KC Hall, man.
Oh, yeah.
Spent half my life there.
Oh, man.
But, yeah. Been banging on any drums lately? No, that starts Sunday, and our first gig is, well, you'll know where this is. We play at Trucker's Pub the 18th. I play with Jake Shoemaker.
I know Jake.
Yeah.
I actually work with his brother Jordan.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I play with Jake. It's me and Jake. Travis, your neighbor down the road. He's our guitar player. Jeff Myers.
I know Jeff, yeah.
Yeah. Me and Jeff been playing together for years. I was in Never Seven.
Really?
I was a drummer for Never Seven. I was a drummer for a while. I was with this band called Burnt Toast. I was in the Rhythm Pigs. I was
I know the Rhythm Pigs too. Yeah.
And then I'm in Black Swine.
Okay.
So, yeah, so you've seen me around.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have long hair, but then I started to get the spot, and I didn't want to be that guy. So, but no, we practice Sunday, and then I think the 18th is our first gig back, and then it's nonstop. So I'm going to be doing all this crap and playing on the weekends. But I love Jake. They're good family, good people, and
he's making it big in Nashville, isn't he?
Well, he did the Nashville CD that he's promoting. You can get it all on Spotify, Amazon.
Yep.
And then he wants me to help him write some new stuff. And I'm going to try with all this crap going on. Like I said, Dad, start a YouTube channel. Well, now I'm super busy.
Yeah.
I still got to make my way back over to Kansas City.
Uh-oh.
I got transmission for the Holy Goat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Our friend built the unbuildable bulletproof transmission for the Holy Goat.
Nice.
And he's got the transmission for Amber's. He's got the transmission for Dalton's van, the 4-wheel drive van. He's got that. So, yeah, I'm way too busy. And then drive a truck. You know, I go to Chicago every day. So, but
having a full-time job and then any projects and side stuff, it don't take long. And next thing you know, you're looking back going, where did all this time go? Well,
yeah, I do take breaks. Like Sunday, I didn't touch the damn car. Yeah. We had Zeppy's Pinewood Derby thing at the grade school for Cub Scouts, and I was just like, I'm not doing nothing today.
Yeah,
I did that with him, and I come home and I just kind of fiddle farted around here, and
that's with me. We just got off of nights, and I work 3 and 4 days a week. We have a rotation, and we were on nights. We're going to days, but in 2 weeks, I go from working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to working Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And because the overtime is going to be hitting on, it's going to be every other Sunday. Yeah, we flop days and nights and the end of the week. So
quad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm an operator there. So it stinks. I would rather have just a normal 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 kind of thing, because then I'd have a lot more time in my evenings to do stuff, and I wouldn't be so wore out. But my general rule of thumb is no matter what I've done through the rest of the week, the day before work, all I do is I sit and relax, spend time with whoever, and just chill, get ready for the work week, because that drains me. And usually the first day after work, I'm pretty well drained.
I'm leaving at 6 a.m, and I got home right before this video.
I actually drove truck for a while too.
Yeah.
Years ago.
I'm owner operator. I couldn't take being told what to do anymore in a truck. And it was just like, I got laid off Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
In 2009 by a farmer out in Edgewood, Mason area. I was his number one driver, did everything, even found loads for him, and he lays me off for Christmas Eve, says he just can't afford to do it no more, and then he put his farm hand in the truck.
Oh.
So I went down to Edgewood, and a good friend of mine on the south side of it that has a bunch of old crap, you probably know where that is, very south side, and bought a truck from him for $4,500, and I took every job that farmer had. I was like, I'm not a prick like that, but Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to swallow there. He kind of deserved that.
It has its ups and downs. I would have to say in the last 2 years, it's been all downs. It's, $6 a gallon.
Yeah, I was going to say the economy and diesel prices is just nuts.
What's funny is diesel's the sludge at the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, it's a leftover.
But that's where all the money is, because trucks got to move.
Yep. America stops if the trucks don't run.
Oh, yeah. But you can never get them all to stop because they give all the incentives to Swift, Schneider, Prime.
Yep.
You name it. That's how it goes, though.
Yep.
I don't know. I'd love to. At first, when I first started this channel, it was Zeppy. Zeppy was like, Dad, you're always working on these cars. And he's 6 years old. And he's like, Dad, you're always working on these cars. Why don't you film it and put it on YouTube? Because, he was one of them kids that likes to watch kids play games on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. And
he'd come across Vice Grip Garage.
Yep.
He started watching it, and he was listening to Derek. And I was like, yeah. I said, I don't know, man. He goes, come on, Dad. We're walking through Walmart Christmas time, year before last. Bought a damn GoPro and started doing it. The first video was terrible. I'm terrible because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to edit. I don't do anything. I still don't. It's a learning curve that never stops.
Yeah.
Well, that turned into, we got this. I got to know Dalton from Pole Barn Garage. He set me up with No Name Nationals and all these kooks. And I started into that. Well, that turned into, I did a video with Dalton. And that turned into, oh, crap. Now I'm monetized. And everybody's like, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? And I jumped it like that. I jumped up, and now it's like, now I don't want to stop. Now there's a possibility, huge. It's way out there, but it's like, damn, I may not have to drive a truck anymore.
Yeah.
I'd love to maybe get to that point. That'd be great. Or I could pay somebody just to keep my wheels turning.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I'll try it. And well, it's turned into, I got people helping me, and I got a couple big namers wanting to help me, and I won't take it because I'm just from that generation that I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You're going to need help. Even the big one got help.
Oh,
It wasn't on his own.
No.
And, which is fine, man. Do whatever you need to do. But I don't know. I'd rather just not have to drive truck. Because I ain't ever going to be able to retire a truck driver.
No. I won't even be able to retire what I'm doing. But at the same time, I love working on these old things. I love learning. I love doing the new things. I mean, anytime you buy something old like that, you run into something new. And if you've never done it before, because I and even Dan at Didi's Speed Shop, there's times that he's done this a lot, and he runs into something and he's like, okay, I've never done that, and he's had these cars apart, piece by piece. And I really enjoy watching him, go through this stuff and the struggles, and a lot of, there's other things, other YouTubers out there that do the work too. And I like seeing the smaller guys doing it, because like you guys talked about earlier, all the big names, they've got a lot of money getting free stuff, it ain't going to cost you nothing. We'll send you those heads, and they call it a low budget build. Well, yeah, for them it is, because they didn't pay for the heads. They didn't pay for the distance. They didn't pay for the machine work. So
I had a huge argument with somebody about Engine Masters. I watch that show all the time because I try to learn something new off of it on different builds. But the thing is, none of the shit that they do, I'm ever going to do.
Yeah.
And there's like, no, they said this about, if you ding in your headers, it doesn't hurt the flow. Yeah, it does. And he's like, no, they did it on this. It was engine tested. Okay. But you realize those headers are from Flowmaster, and the big banner behind them says Flowmaster. So they don't want you to know that your headers ain't going to fit. So you're going to have to bang them in, and they don't want you to know. It's like every time. It's always an XP 800 CFM carburetor on a small block.
Yeah, that's way too much.
Two of them on a tunnel ram on a small block. I'm like, no. They're just trying to sell you an 800 XP.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I love the show, but the only one I really like on that show is Steve, because Dulcich is old school real. He's goofy as all hell, but he's old school real, like the Vanishing Paint Challenger that Derek owns now.
Yeah.
That thing, I didn't realize how old school that motor was built until I watched this latest thing of him going on sick week.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the push rods are coming through the rockers.
Yeah.
He didn't even put hardened rockers on this thing. It's got all that horsepower, and they're running it through, and he didn't even put hardened rockers. I just thought that was neat as hell. I was like, Steve Dulcich. But everything that they do on all those big channels, you can't. Me or you'll never afford.
No, it's not realistic.
Oh, I can believe that, Thumper. I can believe that, but you know what? He's old hippie style Californian. I can believe that. I've met a couple people that don't meet your heroes. I got some stories from Power Tour.
Oh yeah.
I don't say them live because I don't want to talk about them, but if I meet you in person, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I got some stories. about some people in Power Tour. I can tell you right now that Kevin Brown from Junkyard Digs is one of the coolest fucking people you ever meet. He is exactly the same person when you meet him. And a lot of the guys in No Name Nationals, they met Austin, you know, who I've talked to for a year or so now. He's he's just an awesome guy. Thunderhead 289, Luke, cool. Was with him and his dad the entire Power Tour. Man. And great people. I'm only leaving one person out. So you can guess.
Yeah.
That was there. And yeah, I actually, at first it was bad, but then in the last day in Atlanta, we had a great conversation for about 30 minutes over a beer and his square body. And I got a lot out of him that was pretty cool. I did meet Cotton, who's actually, Cotton's from basically Collinsville.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Newbern, good dude. Met him. Yeah. And then Dan, DD Speed Shop. He's Dan. He is completely Dan. What's his name? Jacob from Sally Speed Shop. He's a good dude. I talk to him all the time. He's an AMC guy too. But there was a lot of them, and I didn't force myself into their life. You know what I mean? I didn't come up with a camera, you know, and get in their face. I was with all them guys all week. Me and Amber and Zeppy were with them, and Aiden were with them all week. And I never took one picture except for one, and that was with Amber and Zeppy and Aiden with Derek and Jesse and Jessica and his boy. And I got a picture of Zeppy and them two together because Zeppy watches Little Grip Garage. Yeah. And he had the shirt on, Little Grip Garage. So he wanted to get a picture with Derek's boy. And I met all these guys. I never once put a camera in their face. Every time I'm walking down the midway, I'd get yelled at by Aaron and Emily from Flying Sparks. Hey, you know, because I talk to them all the time too. And it's never just to get anywhere, but I never took one damn picture. Yeah. I'm in all their damn videos, but I never took one picture. And I just didn't, you know, I didn't want them to feel like I was trying to, you know, get
right.
Face. And I think that's what, we'll just say that's what Derek's problem was with me coming up, because he knew who I was. He knows the channel. And I never once put a camera in his face. The closest I got to him with a camera was actually my buddy Scott there with Half-Foot Labs. I ran up on him next to Derek's truck, and his buddy and his now wife just got engaged, and I caught it like right after on the thing, and I was talking to Scott, and that's it. Yeah. And I walked around and I just pointed out a couple cars. I never got in anyone's face about anything. And I kind of felt that way. And I think that's what, I kind of felt for Derek, because he was getting that constantly. Like people come up with the damn camera, get right. Hey, man. Yep. And he's just sitting there like,
5 minutes of fame.
This used to be a vacation for me,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. 5 minutes of fame. And I always wondered, how I'd react. And the last thing I want to do, for one, I don't want to be up in a bunch of people's faces with cameras, because one, I'm a nobody, but two, they're having that all the time. And I don't even know how I would react if that ever happened to me. I'm just me. And so, I don't know. I guess I'm even though I do the YouTube stuff and things like this, I'm still a pretty private person, I know whenever I go to shows, that Iola car show, you've seen, I'm really wanting to go to that. And it's not because Derek or some of the other people are going to be there. It's because, it's something I enjoy, and it's something I want to be able to do, take a trip and enjoy. So, and
I got asked the other day, I got messaged by a big YouTuber, hey, you going on Power Tour this year? I said,
I got asked that.
I said, I got all my stuff. It's all done. I got my hotels. I got everything. Oh, well, good. We'll have to hang out when you get there. Maybe we'll put you on the midway. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I said, I wasn't expecting that. Believe it or not, I was just going to go get my shit stamped and bolt. go see some sights, you know. And I was surprised by it, but they're at this every time because they're a huge sponsor of Continental Tire. And I'm like, well, I don't have Continental tires. He says, yeah, but there's plenty of other things you can do on the Midway. You put the car up there. It's got Edelbrock all over it. There's an Edelbrock bus or whatever.
Yeah.
There's DEI stuff. I got DEI stuff. You know, you're supporting there and your YouTube. What else I got to put up there? You know? I'm like, well, I hope. You know, I don't want to get all up in people's face. He says, nah, be fine. All right.
Yeah.
You know, I had fun this last power tour because I got to hang out and get to know people other than people that wanted to look at the car because it's a Javelin. So there was only one other one on it. It was all retrofitted and swapped. And, you know, it wasn't an actual natural numbers matching AMC front to back, wheels and all, you know?
Yeah.
And, but I was hanging out with bunch of guys I never met before, big YouTubers, and got along great. I was staring out my freaking hotel room in Nashville, watching over my Javelin because I had to run some people off. And literally right down at the bottom, I was sitting there watching. I actually walked down there. It was Flying Sparks. It was David Newburn, Cotton, Aaron and Emily Reeves with Flying Sparks, and then what's the Taylor Racing?
Oh, yeah.
They were down there swapping out the water in her car because it kept overheating, that orange. And I was sitting there talking to them. And while I'm talking to them, I'm messaging Kevin Brown, who just got to his hotel with Luke and all this stuff. I had a ball. Like I said, man, I never once asked for a picture. I never did anything. I was just like regular. They treated me like one of the guys, and I treated them like one of the guys. They're just regular people.
Yeah.
You know,
And
usually if they don't act like regular people, you don't want to meet them.
Right.
You don't want to meet all your heroes, man. Because
Yeah.
I've met Sebastian Bach.
Yeah.
I've met some rock and roll stars that I wish I'd have never
You didn't know the rest of the story, huh? I've actually thought about going on power tour. It's something I'd like to do. It's not because of the people that's going to be there. It's more of the community, you know, getting together and celebrating. It doesn't matter what brand of car or what make it is. It's just about car guys getting together because they love cars, and that's what it is. It's what it's about. So,
the thing that's amazing is the power tour with the participants. Most of them will say was similar to like this No Name Nationals thing. We're all in it together. We're all going to make this work. I helped so many people with their, you know, and it wasn't just me. I'm not singling me out on this, but I helped so many people with their fuel boil issues because it was the hottest days on record. You know,
yeah.
And I was sitting out of our hotel in Nashville, actually. No, it wasn't Nashville. Where the hell were we? I can't remember which one we was at. Might have been Hoover, Alabama. We was all sitting out in the hotel, and all these guys with their fancy Chevelles all painted up. The hell, you know, not just singling out Chevelles, but they all had their hoods open. And they said, man, we went to Holly. They told us to put this plate on. We're getting dying. We're getting fuel boil and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. And they're like, well, what the hell do you? They get pissed. Like, what the hell do you know? And I said, well, I'm driving an AMC, and it ain't overheated on me once. An AMC that ain't overheated on me once. It ain't done nothing to me. No fuel boil, no nothing. It's worked great. They had that pristine, perfect metal fuel line coming off the pump, up the side of the block, across the friggin' head, across the intake runner.
Yep.
And I'm like, right there. I said, tomorrow morning or tomorrow, when you get to the next stop, go straight to DEI booth and tell them you need some heat shielding for your fuel line. They will actually give it to you. And they did that. And the next hotel, they were at the same hotel. Like, it worked. I said, I'm telling you, because I had that stuff wrapped around that fuel line.
Yep.
And because it's metal up to so far, because originally AMC had the old Dodge style where it had the return come out of the filter and then one goes to the car. But it fixed it. There was so many caught rods on the side of the road. It was that and those G-damn electric fans.
Oh, yeah.
Electric fans would burn up. They burn up the wires. They burn up the fuse box. They burn up the alternator.
Yep.
Because they're trying to keep up with the heat. That's the first thing I tell people whenever they ask me about power tour. I said, put a mechanical fan on it.
Yep. And
you'll lose fuel mileage, but I guarantee that damn thing will stay cool.
Yep.
That car did not overheat once, and that motor was trash.
Yeah.
Put a mechanical, hard blowing fan. Yep. That's why the Ranchero's got electric fans on it, couldn't keep it cool. So I unhooked them. They're still there, but I put the freaking big ass Flexo light on that was in the back. It's one of the fancy ones too. It's like $100 fan. Put that on there, and it blew my hat off when I started the car. I was like, "Yep, she'll stay cool now."
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I went because it was awesome to do, and I did it in a Javelin. And just so happens I was walking across the Midway, and I had been talking to. Well, how it started was I'd already been talking to Emily and Aaron Reeves because I liked how they edited their videos and how they did stuff. So I thought I'll just ask her how they do it, And she and Aaron on different occasions both got a hold of me like right away and like started explaining stuff. Well, that turned into I went to walking across the Midway, and she yelled at me because I was actually wearing a Flying Sparks Garage. It was in Memphis, and I was there when they got there, and they were in that Betty Boot Bronco, and I went up and I was looking. I didn't say a word to him. She comes up and gives me a great big hug. She says, "I was hoping you was going to make it here." And Aaron come up, shook my hand, everything was, and that turned into me meeting Jacob Davis. So that turned into me meeting Kevin Brown. That turned into, and then when we went to Nashville, we just rode with a group of people we'd never met in our lives, went out to eat with them.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with YouTube. So then we go to the venue, and then it turned into, this time I met Dan. This time, and it started going down. And the whole time I tried to leave Derek alone, but I at least wanted to go up and say hi because he noticed me. But it was almost like he avoided me. But like I said, I wasn't running around the camera.
Yeah.
And he came up and talked to me in Hoover about my Javelin, him and Jesse and his friend, the one that just went on sick week with him. They came up and talked to me for a while, had a decent conversation. And I mean, I email with him back and forth. Doesn't help to get advice from somebody that's dealing with stuff. But I don't know. This year I wasn't planning on doing any of that. Well, now it sounds like I might have to.
But like you were talking about, I mean, that's kind of part of the journey, especially if you're, you're looking at possibly, using YouTube as a good moneymaker, and that. I think that's everyone's dream at some point at a certain time. If they're on here doing YouTube, I mean, I never actually thought about doing it. It's just everything's kind of spiraled from just trying to put stuff up for Pontiac clubs and stuff. But I enjoy my audience. I do. I enjoy my audience. I love all the help, the comments and stuff. I haven't really gotten a lot of bad ones. There's been a few, but it's nothing I can't deal with. I've dealt with worse people in my face talking to me, not punching some keys on a keyboard. Went
around in my cars in Effingham. When are you going to paint that? What color are you going to paint it, Russ? Yeah. What do you mean? You shouldn't be driving that. It should be in a.
I know.
My favorite go-to answer to haters on my YouTube is, "Oh, if you think that's bad, just wait. It's going to get worse."
Yeah, that's been my biggest thing with Camille. Give it a proper paint job. That's a original Survivor car. You have no business with it if you're not going to give it a proper paint job. And you know what? That's fine. You go get you one, and you do what you want with it. Until then, I'm going to do what I want with mine. And it's just the way it is.
I got a car that's sitting in Sigel, actually, that I'd love to get a hold of. I almost bought this thing. It was traded into Russ Broniker's. And my buddy Matt worked there for the longest time. And he's the one that told me it was in there. And I said, "Really? It's an old Nash." And it belonged to Mrs. Brown that owned Brownies in T-Town.
Really?
My neighbor down the road from me, and Brownies is where that damn whatever by Weber Brothers is.
Oh, okay.
But that was it. When I was a kid, she was my neighbor, and every time I walked by, I'd get out of grade school and I'd go across the street and I'd walk past Weber's, and old man Weber would give me a stick of Wrigley's and he saw me walking by. And then I'd walk past Brownies, and Brownie would call me in there and give me a this is aging me, and you too. She'd give me a bubble gum cigar.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
And then I'd go out of there and I'd walk across the street and walk into Wessel's, and I have 10 cents or 20 cents on me, and I'd get those damn Jolly Rancher sticks for 10 cents a piece. Or I'd go into my buddy George, and his mom ran Country Kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'd go in all them places, and I'd end up all the way down at, because I lived on the very south side. But I'd hit everything on the way home, and I'd always get something on the way home. So, yeah, I grew up on the south side of the tracks. But yeah, I don't know. I used to build my cars all on the south side. You grew up in Diedrich, I guarantee you knew my car when I was a kid.
Very possible.
83 Mustang GT. It was silver gray, soft top. Had a sunroof, loud as hell. It would basically pull the front end off the ground. And I was like 16 years old. One of my best friends, who I just ran into a couple weeks ago, and he looks terrible, but still kicking. God dang it. Now I'm so tired I can't remember his name. He drove the 429 Boss in town.
Was he from Watson?
He's from St. Elmo, Ron Ragsdale.
Okay. Rag?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ragsdale. Yeah.
I grew up around him. He actually let me drive that car.
Really?
And, he's still kicking, but barely. But yeah, I grew up around all those people. They used to build derby cars with the Zeruzans.
Oh, man.
and the Herbets.
Oh, geez.
So I was just a little shit, I'd go over and break the windows out of theirs, and they say, "You're rooting for us, aren't you?" Mike and all those guys, Mike Zeruzan and all them, loved them to death. Then I'd go over to the Herbets because my brother-in-law's sister was married to a Herbeth. So I would always go over there, and my brother-in-law owned the body shop next to Dale's.
Really?
Yeah. So he's retired now. But yeah, I hung out with all them people. Even when I was a little kid, the Myers.
Yeah.
I hung out with them all. I grew up around all that kind of crap. Willenbergs.
Yeah, oh yeah, Willenbergs, yeah. A lot of the same names and everything between Dietrich, Effingham, T-Town, yeah, Shoemakers. Of course, that was the big thing, back then. Whenever you went to Dietrich, you dated T-Town girls.
The problem is when we were trying to date, Mom would get out the family Bible. Hold on. Nope.
Yeah.
Third cousin, twice removed.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
I married a T-Town girl. I was married 17 years. But yeah,
my first love was a T-Town girl. Had my first child, and my oldest. That was my first child with her. So,
my age, our age.
Yeah, about a year. She's almost 2 years younger than me. Yeah, she was a shoemaker.
I'd probably be able to figure that out. But
Yeah, you probably went to school with her brothers, Ron and Tom.
I think they're a year older than me.
Yeah, a few years older. Yeah.
Yeah. I was married to a Ruhal.
Ooh.
Yeah. Of course, if you ask them, there's 5 different families of Ruhals.
Yeah, we're
Just
not
like
related.
they say, there's 3 or 4 different versions of Tailies.
Yeah,
But yet there's Ruhal's married to Tailies.
yeah.
Yeah, who are you fucking kidding?
That rabbit didn't jump far from the hole.
Yeah. No, they're all good people. I wouldn't have wanted to grow up anywhere else.
No, I think we got it pretty good down here
I
where we were at.
I was born in Springfield
Mm.
and adopted in Irish in a German Catholic town. So I was an outcast to begin with. Had long hair, fast car that wasn't a Dodge, and played music. Yeah. I was playing music in bars when I was 13. So,
shoot.
Yeah, I started out with first gig I ever played. My brother-in-law brought me to. He was uptown, and he said, "Get your drums." I said, "What? Get your drums. There's a band up here that needs a drummer. 50s and 60s music. I don't care." I said, "I don't know how to just get your stuff. Put it in the truck. Let's go." Played at Dewdrop Inn.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I played with that band for 3 years. Man. 13 years old.
That's cool, though.
Yeah. I was good friends with Gretchen Wilson.
I got to meet her once when she was out at Chasers.
Yeah.
And I got to dance with her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. When they were doing one of the things. Yeah, I don't know what it was. She just came and pointed at me and she said, "Dance with me." I said, "Okay." That was all it was. But she also danced with about 6 other people during that.
Yeah, she's pretty good about that stuff. I got to be pretty good friends with her. We passed out in the freaking room at the old Rain Tree one night. Me and her and Jeff and a couple other people. We just passed the hell out. We was so damn drunk. We was just kids, But she sang at my wedding.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, like right before she moved to Nashville. She was married when she moved to Nashville. That's the part she don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
Then I watched her beat the hell out of her husband. Literally beat the hell out of her husband.
Maybe he deserved it. Who knows?
He probably did. Beowulf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I met a lot of those people. I don't know. I've always been one of them people. I don't stick to one clique. I just don't care. If you don't like me, I don't care. If I don't like you, I don't care. I got nothing against you. I don't know. We just don't have to talk.
Yep. Yep. Just keep on walking kind of thing.
Yeah. So much shady crap went on in my little town that I just bitch about my long hair and my loud car, but I know all about you. I know all about you.
Yeah.
They don't like that, but well, you know what? I got to get to bed.
Yeah, I need to get out of here and get to bed. I got to make sure the kiddos get up after Mama goes to work in the morning and make sure they hit the bus. So I got some quiet time.
Yeah, I don't get to do that. I'm usually up going, get out of bed. I got to get in the truck. Get everybody up, or she will, and I'll take the hell off. But yeah, I'm glad you came on here.
Hey, yeah,
funny
thanks for having me.
We probably know each other.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I've been around, been called a lot of things, usually nothing good.
Yeah, man, but, me too.
I better go, man.
All right, man. Have a good one.
We'll see you guys.
See you, everyone.